Can Aurelion Sol jungle viably in high elo and thereby every other elo? As you can see, we're doing a cheeky invader on this Karthus. I will showcase this random start, aggressive start with a delayed full clear and how you can actually get fed and win. And I will also show you a clear, more standardized, where the weaknesses are really shown, and of course how we can navigate those things as well. Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and in this one we have the reworked Aurelion Sol. Now, we are going to be starting off with our Q on this first clear with a Phase Rush rune set. The runes that I think are good are going to be First Strike, Phase Rush, and Electrocute for high damage gankings. What we're looking to do is full clear from blue down. This gives you the fastest clear, about 3 minutes 20. What you might have to do sometimes is use your imagination because there's a visual glitch on his Q in replays and third-person views. We don't really fully see everything. What we're trying to do, as you can see here, as we can see on this replay, we actually have the Q working, is you want to use your E to hold camps in place. It's a black hole, it sucks them and it holds them for 5 seconds. You then use that Q to do maximum damage while, of course, you know, they're not running at your face and slapping you. But of course, as you can see, eventually they will run at you, and that Q is not a toggle. You have to hold it down the entire time. It's got a cast time where it lasts a certain amount of duration, and then of course you can recast it immediately. So it's a spammable, unspammable ability, but it really is spammable. The key for the Q is, while it will do amplified magic percentage max HP damage, based upon the stardust you collect. The stardust are the little particles you get from, you know, damaging enemies with your spells, including in the jungle. As you can see right here, we already have 5 from that blue side clear. So that amplification will give us max HP damage on the Q. Now, the key thing about the Q, and I'm going to stress this on the at the outset, when you're full clearing down, please put 2 points into your Q and go for full clear when you're starting on the blue side. It's the fastest way to do things. As you can see, you get low. We're not using our E enough in this particular case. This was a bad E from this player. I will have another game I'm going to show you how to clear differently using the E first, right after this first full clear, because I want to show you everything that I can possibly do in this video. Now, we are doing super low HP gaming. There's no point rushing over to this. We might as well just finish it up. This is important because the randomness of first early games on these kinds of champions, on these off-meta champions, how do we adjust to them? How do we adjust to the early games and still thrive and get fed? That's always the eternal question. And because the E does have that sort of a 5-second-ish cooldown, I'm sorry, 5 seconds, goodness gracious, no, it's more like 10-11 second cooldown. Essentially what you want to do in the jungle is use it as much as possible, but don't spare it, right? Because if you have it up and you can hold monsters in place to channel your Q, you really want to be able to do that. And if you're not doing that, you're just taking free damage. So keep the spacing. Now we can use it. Obviously, now we're getting invaded by the Katarina. Let's jump to the actual clear that's a little bit different. This is the downside to this kind of start. Now we jump back into this game from that terrible first clear over there, and we're starting E in this particular case. We're being invaded by the Akshan as expected. Now, that first clear there, I explained why I thought that wasn't good. We didn't use our E appropriately of cooldown. We didn't keep the spacing properly. We did put 2 points into the Q, but it didn't quite work as well. This one here, we're going for the E start. That means, of course, you can just have the suck. You hold it in place. You're doing damage over time. You do your auto attacks, you know, through and through. And then we can kind of shadow up to the Krugs, into the red, and kind of set ourselves up for some good sequencing. You kite things out. The pets will do a good job. Again, that 10-11 second cooldown on that E is noticeable, but of course you can leave it and kite away, right? You can just sit there, place it, and walk away. They'll be trapped in place. They'll tick, tick, boom. And of course you can move to the next monster. The Q glitch, as you can see, is in this replay. Some replays, the Q animation works. Some games, the Q animation works, and sometimes it just fails entirely. So whenever you see channeling above his head, that's what's going on. There are a lot of bugs and glitches at the moment with the champion. But whenever you see channeling, you see the fire. Imagine it a little bit. Now, the thing about this champion is as follows. While we understand that there's a max HP component scaling on the Stardust with our Q, we obviously get the increased range on that E from the Stardust passive. We get the increased range and amplification every 75 Stardust on our ultimate. And the W is our swim movement speed gap closer. That, of course, increases its range as well with the Stardust that you get. Now, all of that being said, how is it clear? How does it feel? What's happening here? So, we obviously did the level 1 invades here. We're forced to start E, and obviously we're seeing how we can adjust our early game planning accordingly. Now, the perfect clear I will upload on my shorts on the main channel just to showcase to you what exactly you should be doing. And obviously, randomness is the most important thing here, because if you don't have randomness and you don't have things that happen that you don't expect, you're not really learning how to play the champion, because you have to be able to adapt to the game states that are occurring, and when you don't, you lose, right? And off-meta junglers are always susceptible to that, as you would have seen with the Katarina invade in the first rotation. So, Akshan does kill the Pantheon. And we just need to rearrange this here a little bit, I think, something like that, I believe. And the Pantheon kills the Yakshan. The Karthus shows up 16 CS with the blue buff, so that means he does blue side, wraps his, shoves this out. Obviously, he's going to go back to the red side. Aurelion Sol, in the meantime, has done his blue, Wolves, and Grump. That means he's going to wrap his Krugs, Wolves, Grump in terms of the spawning timers. Karthus shows up bottom lane here. We're kind of low. You're very mana hungry, right? You're very, very mana hungry. But this is how you want to use that E. Keep it within this the realm of the range. We have our W, over the wall W. Nice counter gank once we hit level 4 here. We're using our channeling. We're channeling, we're auto-attacking. We'll have our Q up again here. There's our Q going forth. You can't exactly see the animation. I apologize. That's a Riot thing. I don't know how to help you. We're going to move back up here, and we can trap him with our E if possible, which of course we do, and we pick up that kill as well. So what you're noticing here is we use the W to gap close. We use our Q flying, which you can do, right? You can use your Q while flying. There's no cooldown when you're flying, and then you just burn people down with Dragonfire Breath of Doom. However, if you get a takedown, within 3 seconds of damaging a spell, it refunds 90% of this ability's cooldown. So we were able to W over the wall, do some fire fistings, get some killings, and our W then got 90% of its cooldown refreshed, 20 seconds base, so we could reposition back up to the turret. Nice safety mechanism once you go in, okay? Now, let's talk a little bit about what we want to accomplish in this game. E is going to suck all the Krugs there. You see that sucks them towards the center. Nice little black hole and does damage over time. The execution radius on that, the execution threshold, on that E is important. The execution threshold basically says if something below 5% max HP is in that zone, that black hole zone, they get executed. Your Stardust collection increases that amount by a small percentage. As you can see now, it's 6.4 instead of 5, and that's basically 2.6% already from our stacks. We have a total of 66 stacks already from clearing one full time and doing all of the damagings. Now we see the Karthus over pushing on the top lane here, so we W in and we Q while we're Wing and we get the kill. We get a takedown, which means we get 90% of the damage reduction done again. Let's look at that again. All right. Again, I apologize. The particles just don't work, right? I've released it. There's a lot of bugs with this champion. You can see the fire going through. Our W gets refreshed. Okay, here it is. Now we're going to reposition again, and then we'll use our E to slow and keep that Olaf in position whereby we can use our Q as well. So really good examples in this particular game of all his spells just in the first rotation and kills. Hopefully this gives you a good example of how you can use Aurelion Sol jungle pressure. And of course, despite the 75% reduction in laner experience, we'll say we enjoy, we absorb, we black hole, we snack. The first strike, let's see, we're already at 38 damage dealt, 42 gold gained. This is nice because of the boots, this is nice because of the futures market, this is nice because of Cosmic. Obviously with Treasure Hunter and of course Cheap Shot, I would have shown that at the beginning. Electrocute. Yeah, you could do that for guaranteed damage. All it takes is an E auto Q, procs it immediately, pretty straightforward, nothing too difficult. And especially with the E here, kind of, dragging enemies towards the center and doing that center execute, right? It's not the edge, you have to be within the event horizon. Leveraging my astrophysics history. That's why I always wanted to play this champion, and I did, and I made a montage on my main channel, but it was never truly viable in the jungle, right? And became such a niche thing for years, so I'm excited to try it myself. However, if you go blue, Grump, Wolves, you put 2 points into the Q, you use your E to create spacing so you can actually drag its breath onto them, and of course you cut it appropriately, you can 320 clear pretty healthy, look for crab, look for ganks, and as you can see the W refund, the 90% refund on the W cooldown, that's the spice, right? So you want to use it with intent to kill, get the refund, and then reposition to keep using your Dragon's Breath. So here we use the W, we get stunned, we're now using the E to suck him into position, we're using our Dragon's Breath as much as we can. We do have the ultimate available, let's see if we decide to use it in this particular case. We do. If they get hit, they get stunned, they get knocked up, that's beautiful. And once you get 75 Stardust stacks, that then does the Giga, right? The Giga more damage. I'll leave this up on the tooltip. Can you see it? You can read that a little bit. So essentially, you're looking at magic damage, stuns for 1.25 seconds, and you get 5 Stardust for every champion you snack. So that's even better, right? And you will see on the bottom left, it's very, very small. But above the ultimate, there's a cooldown, not a cooldown, but like a yellow bar that fills up. In game, you will see this above your ability bar as well. This will showcase when you're about to reach 75 stacks, and of course that gives you the super upgrade, which does more damage. The knock up there, okay, so it's a stun base, it's a knock up amplified, excuse me, I wasn't clear on that. But the stun is overall, the stun and the knock up have the same duration, 1.25 seconds. But it's worth noting that here we go, W of the wall, Dragon's Breath is being channeled, we get the kill. Again, I know it's difficult to see without the Dragon's Breath animation, but whenever he's channeling, he's using it. And I don't know how we fix that. I've tried to fix it. I mean, it's an ult. You threw it, you hit it, I suppose that's fine. Oh, something was happening in the meantime. So basically, Ash fires his arrow here, and we're basically chilling in this bush. Let's see, we actually end up getting chunked here. The Akshan obviously goes over the wall. We're using the E-Suck. He's gonna have to channel around this way. We get enough space to W over the wall to safety. Huge use of the W. Really powerful, potent spell that we're seeing in this video. I do like that. Again, we're channeling the Dragon's Fire Breath over here. This was the only game that we really saw that had the strengths of the champion really shown. And again, look at the limit testing here. We can keep it in place, use our Dragon's Breath, get the Inherent Sustain from the jungle, smite it, snack it, back to base. So you're seeing everything in the kit in this video, showcasing how strong he is. Minus the animations, but you're seeing everything being used perfectly. Good everywhere vibes. Now, we are stacking up our Dark Seal. Itemization. This is the interesting one. I've done some testing myself already, some mathematics on dummies and in-game. So W, again, out of base to your Wolf Camp, will start to do a lot of damage now. The three mythics we are looking at: Ludens, Rod of Ages, and Leandries. Rod of Ages scaling in the jungle, fine, but you're scaling champion, so understand what you're getting into. Leandries, I think, will be a really, really good one. You'll do a lot of damage with your Q. A lot of damage, okay? A lot of max HP, a lot of burn, a lot of dot damage. The Ludens is the weakest win rate item at the moment in mid and jungle. But against a lot of squishies, it's going to do work. In this case, we will be fighting an Olaf as well as a Leona, but the targets we are going for are the Karthus, the Akshan, and the Ezreal. Let's see what we can do on the dragon here. We'll stand still, and we will Q. And we will auto, and we will Q some more. And we will save our E, because we don't need it. We want to save it. We're going 4 points into the E there, actually, which is really interesting. Really interesting that we're going with the E. We're going to W over the wall here. Let me see what we can do. We have the ultimate available. We actually have the super ultimate available. So let's see, before we talk a little bit more about that, what exactly we're looking at here in terms of ability maxes. As you can see here, we're going to try and get the knockup. Now, knockups do not get affected by tenacity, so that's the amplification, right? There we go. We're doubling into space. There it comes through. We're going to hit the knockup there. The whole zone gets the slow and the damage according to that whole range that it hits. Akshan is preemptively rotated down, obviously understood and saw things. Olaf has showcased himself, and the Twitch is able to get some cleanup kills, and Olaf will chase down the Ash. We cry top differential, and Trinity says, yeah, but I got Herald. I'm taking the plates, and Ash Gaming. So, yeah, really fascinating stuff there on the ultimate. Nicely done. Waiting for us to respawn. Can we hurry up with the respawn, please? Thank you. Okay, so now we're going into, obviously, we can go, don't know if I would really go like Deathcap Rush, but you go Shadow Flame. So what we're looking at, most importantly, is dependent on your mythic, which I think should be Rod by default, flexing into Leandries as according, and you, of course, can go Ludens. I do like the Rylai second. It's looking super good. Why is the Rylai good? Because it slows people. Gives you HP and tankiness for a champion that's going to have to stand still to channel his Q, right? You're standing still while you're channeling your Q, and it slows them, which means you can keep channeling your Q without having to move and chase them down. And obviously the E is the ability that you want to use to keep them in position. So in terms of scaling here, we have the damage per second go from 10 to 30. We have the cooldowns going from 10 to 8.3, not huge, and the mana cost, of course, going up. Whereas in the Q, you have all of these things getting better for us. The damage per second goes from 15 to 55, using that W really, really well, actually. I like that a lot. Plus the burst damage from 40 to 80. I personally have preferred the Q max just for that, considering it's a spammable ability, and as much damage as you can get from it is good. And the cooldown boost from the E isn't something I'm too concerned about. You saw that right there, right? We pulled down our R, we didn't care about the knockup, we get the stun in position, then we can use our E, and we can of course Q as well. Nice, straightforward, simple combinations of damage. We are really lighting this game up. 627, and again, Ludens will do work. We'll look at the damage, 496 already. It does work against squishies. You can build full damage squishy. I do feel like most people would benefit from haste, right? Keeping the cooldowns low and everything as much as possible. Q is not really an issue, but definitely the E, the W, and the ultimate. Here we go. We're going to W over the wall. We're going to E there. We're going to be channeling our Q onto the Akshan. Look at the damage, which means, and we now have our W up again right now. Now we can chase people down. Effectively, you're looking at a champion that can get resets. We're just going to smite her and take her out. Targon. Imagine Leona Targon. Targon is mine, says Aurelion Sol. Says, can I take this turret? Also, nicely, we have a Pantheon on our team also. Excellent Ash ult. You see the range of that E increasing already? Now W gets reset, so we're Wing. We can channel while we're Wing. Q the whole time. Very, very nice. You can't always see what's going on, but you can very much see what's going on. And we sort of, that's why you want HP. Champions that are immobile, yes, he gets resets, but you kind of do want that HP. I feel like that's going to be so good. Plus the mana. Could you go Seraphs and stack yourself some mana in the jungle? Yes. So essentially what you're looking at, the abilities that we have, with the spam that we have, you could have Seraphs plus a Rod of Ages plus a Shadow Flame and a Rylai's firstly. Then you can just have yourself a Void and a Death Cap. If you want, you can have yourself a Zhonya's. That'll be more the standard de facto build. Obviously, you don't have to leverage that Mana Moon because we have the jungle item, we have the blue buff. Mid laners don't have that option, so that is something we need to pay attention to. But you're seeing the range increase on all the spells are scaling. We do have Giga Superstar mode activated. We can see that icon next to him over there. That E is really, really big at the moment. It does allow him to clear faster, but I do think just spamming the ticks and the consistent damage from Q and using that as much as possible is important. So there was a great use of the W across using that Q while he was moving. So he could do the whole camp, E while Wing, and then of course he can Q as well. So you can channel your spells while you do that, which means, guys, that you can actually steal dragons and such things. You can steal dragons, you can steal a lot of cool shit using your W. Someone was lighting up outside and I could see it with peripheral vision. It's happened one time on this channel before. We have finished our Moss Stomper. Obviously, that is the juicy way to go for most jungles. That is a horrific ward. But, you know, with Challenger game players, you expect this kind of level of jungling and snappy decision-making and learning champions very, very quickly. But this is such a good, perfect game. We've gone straight into the Death Cap to showcase the damage profile. The survivability in games where you're behind, I think it's better. So personally, I'm more of a Leandri's Rylai's kind of guy, because obviously plays Zyra, right? Those kinds of things work. The ultimate knockup, oh my goodness gracious, that was juicy. You just bring that down. The range is not as big as you think in terms of summoning distance, but goodness gracious, is it fun to use. Really, really fun to use. I am enjoying this champion. I will be playing it more in jungle. I do think there's a viability. If you can 320 clear, you can use it. If you have map scaling, it doubles it up already. Like I talk about Zyra and I can 320, 330, fine, right? But now he has map scaling that also gives resets. Look at this. We W, we E, we Q, and then we can reposition afterwards. Now we can suck over the wall here to see if there's anything available. There's nothing, so we're going to fly with our refund. We can cancel it, by the way. It's also worth noting it is cancelable. So this person, JSec Troll, is someone who actually read the abilities, thought about it deeply, and uses it properly. Which is what you should do. Or watch this video. That's what I'm trying to cover as much as I can for you, so that you know exactly what's going on. And as I check, is it being recorded? Yeah, okay. I did a whole thing for my channel. Excuse me, sir. I did my whole thing for my channel, not my channel, my website. I'm recording all the courses now, right? And I did an hour and a half of recording, and I had put the mute button on because my baby started crying. Came back, forgot to unmute it, doomed. I had to re-record everything last night. I did not sleep well either, so basically now I'm a bit frazzled, which is why this video is so fun, I think. Usually it is fun when I'm a bit overtired. Anyway, so now we have, of course, the Rider, so we're going to showcase the slow on that ability. I do think, my friends, Rod default, Leandri's, Rylai's, swap into a Death Cap if you're Giga Fed for sure. You can go Ionian as well, but of course Sorks is doing the work here. We're going to W over the wall. We're queuing, we're queuing, we're queuing, we're queuing. Oh, goodness gracious, it's violent. And we're using the E there. We're getting the suck. We're pulling down the ultimate as well. He is dead. We're repositioning with our W. We're flashing to get out of the way. We're onto the plant. We're escaping again. Wow. Over the wall. And I think at this game looks a little bit GG. Really, absolutely perfect example of the new kit, how we can use it from the jungle, how we can win, basically everything that we could possibly want to see from the ability perspective. And I think that'll do it for this one. It should FF shortly, no? Yeah, there you go. Wonderful game, wonderful champion, love it, gonna be doing it myself. Hopefully enjoyed the breakdown of everything, hopefully got a good example. I'm sorry the particles didn't work, out of my control. Most games were like this, so nothing I can do, but hopefully you can see what was going on. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.